Oh man, shout out to everybody in the chat. Rico, where have you been? You've been missed, Rico. Jeff, where have you been? Where's first of all, I'm happy to see you guys are coming here and but I missed you, okay? Like it's been a minute. Hey Wim, Jen, Queen Bella, Chico, Liz, Grandma, welcome, welcome. Who else is in the house? Good Gumby, Nebulous, of course. Amy's in the house. And this is going to be a very not a quick one, but um, I'm how do where do we get started with this? Okay, let's get started because this is okay, mama. This has me a little bit concerned. All right. Um, I was so a lot of you guys. I'm talking about a lot of you guys. Okay, lots and lots of you guys have been messaging me and saying, "Rabbit, please look at Cleveland, Ohio. There's approximately 30 kids missing, and they don't have pictures of these kids that are missing. Please look at this. Look at it." And I was like, "Well, there's other people covering it," and I'm just like, "All right, let me go see what's going on." So I started by going on at the Ohio website, and I'm missing children. Okay, I was like, all right, well, one has no picture. They just went missing a couple days ago on the 5th. Another one on the 5th. This beautiful child right here on the 5th, but has a picture. Another one on the 5th. Another one on the 5th. Another one. Now, I don't know if these have been updated or what is going on, but look at these pictures. Okay, the 4th, the 5th. I mean, if one page of this thing holds 10 photos, what is it? Out of the, two out of the eight don't have a picture. Why don't these missing kids have a picture? I'd like to know. I'd like to know where's there's also a list of adults. Right. But you mean to tell me that none of these kids have a social media? Are we not looking at social medias anymore? None of these kids have a school picture. None of these kids have, I don't know, like what is it, a lunch card, school ID, or anything? So why no pictures? There should be at least one picture. Do you live here? Okay, well, thank you, ma'am, and thank you. These are children. The majority of them are teens. Yeah, these are children, missing kids. I'd like to know why there's not one, like, more pictures of these kids. Right, right. Mm-mm-mm. I know it's a lot of kids. It's a lot of kids, right? It does have me freaked out. Now, here's the deal. As I was looking into this case or this situation that's going on, I happened to notice something very interesting. Okay, something very interesting. While there were about 27 kids that went missing at approximately in a 2-week period, there was also 30 other kids that were found in Texas. Okay, so even though, like, it was weird, right? Just how the time frame happened. So here it says, and this is Texas, by the way. We'll go to Cleveland here in a minute, but I found this to be interesting because this was reported on the 15th of May, where these kids kind of went missing the first 2 weeks of May. About 30 kids were found around that same time in Odessa. Okay, and let me go ahead and hit play so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because some of this is not making a lot of sense to me. I don't know if there is a correlation, but were they able to find 30 kids and yet you got 30, 27 kids missing in Cleveland? I don't know what is going on, but let me hit play on this.
Tracking crime, where Texas DPS recovered 30 children in a missing and exploited child operation last week. The youngest child recovered was just 13 years old. The goal was to find and recover children reported missing in Midland and Ector counties, targeting people seeking to exploit and victimize trafficking victims. Multiple agencies assisted DPS in the investigation. Now, if you were a victim of human trafficking or have information about this type of crime, you're urged to contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And speaking of, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children supports law enforcement in incidences related to missing children being exploited. CBS 7's Alexander Macia joins us from the newsroom. She spoke.
Let me unmute. So, yeah, oh, definitely. I would definitely. Chico, you heard the story, right? So, while we had 30 plus kids, or 27, excuse me, missing kids up over there in Cleveland, Ohio, there was 30 that had been found in Texas. This just kind of made me wonder a little bit of like, well, how does whether there was I don't know if there is. And clearly, when it's something as complex as human trafficking, there's just so many factors to it. We really, really don't know what is going on. But I would have to assume that that is exactly what's been going on over here in Cleveland. But my thing is too, and we have another child here. I have May who's telling me another one from Columbus last night went missing. So what is going on? Okay, that we can't have we can't keep our eyes on our children, or there is like I'm a little confused. Let me hit play on this and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Story out of the Cleveland area. Almost 30 children were reported missing over a 2-week span at the start of May. And for more on what's happening there in Northeast Ohio with this story, we're going to be joined right now by Newburgh, Ohio Police Chief and President of the nonprofit called Cleveland Missing, and that's John Majoy, and he joins us now. Chief Majoy, thanks for being with us here to discuss this story. We came across it today. We wanted to bring you on. I think a lot of viewers.
Yes. So in 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of May, just like they found those other 30 in Texas, you have another almost 30 here in Cleveland, Ohio that went missing. And I mean, if that is the case, then what the hell is going on in our borders? So that are we checking for stuff like this? Like, what is going on? Because clearly there's an issue happening here. We don't even have pictures. What child are we looking for if we don't even have a picture of these kids? Or are we just not trying hard enough? Or are we saying, well, it's the parents' fault because they don't have current pictures of their kids? Okay, if your child has been registered in school, kindergarten, pre-K to middle school to high school, there should be at least one school ID picture. Somebody should be retaining some of these records, just like you would if they need their vaccines, right? Like I'm having a hard time with this right now.
Want to know essentially what is happening? How many children have been reported missing in just the first few weeks of May there in the Cleveland area?
So we had a total of 27 reported in 2 weeks, and so which is an unusually high number. But I think one of the key things is that we don't want to raise public alarm that the kids are being randomly abducted off of the streets or something like that.
Gosh.
Some of these might be runaways. There's no evidence of any abductions at this point. We would have had an Amber Alert or an endangered alert or some other type of alert. So, but rather they're just simply reported missing juveniles between the ages of 12 and 17.
Okay, let me be very clear. The Amber Alert doesn't people aren't effectively using it, okay? Although it's helped save some lives, I mean, statistically, sometimes that doesn't always work, okay? And it's not always inclusive of various situations. In some counties, in some states, Amber Alert works by somebody has to actually see the child be abducted. That's the problem with the Amber Alert. So if some of these kids went missing or weren't reported when they were missing, or we don't have a picture, why I'm concerned. Aaron, right. If it's missing but absolutely no abduction, how do you know if there was no abduction if they're missing? Is it because somebody didn't see an abduction, therefore it didn't happen? It's similar, right? What happens if a tree is cut in the middle of the woods and it does it make a sound? That kind of argument and mentality that kind of gets to me. They do. Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't even agree more. And not only that, these Amber Alert laws and some of these processes are not very well explained. How 27 kids that go missing with no pictures is not alarming to a community or a society, and then you got one that went missing yesterday. How that's not an issue is very much an issue for me. How we don't like it's not about I don't these are kids. These aren't I just don't get it. It is absolutely mind-blowing. People who help their children go missing aren't going to Amber Alert. There you go. We don't know. Runaways to serve, exactly. Some of these kids could have been runaways, but it doesn't mean that we don't know the reasons why they didn't run away. We just don't know. How do we know they didn't meet somebody off online and then were abducted at that process? So unless somebody sees it, how do you know it happened? Like I'm confused by this mentality, but hey, let me hit play.
And it's an unusually high number for a 2-week period early in May. But again, we just want to get the word out there to the public because we want the public to be able to help us out and bring these kids home safe.
Chief Majoy, you've been in this business for what, over 3 decades? Is this a spike that you've never seen before? And are you particularly concerned? Have you ever seen this before?
I've not seen this before, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something that we need to really raise a red flag about.
Wow.
I mean, we see spikes in robberies, burglaries, sometimes sex crimes,
But these are
ATM
kids.
robberies, whatever the case may be. And so there's always cause for concern anytime a crime goes up in a number that is outside of the norm. But all the same, again, I think the key here is to just bring awareness to this because these kids, they're young, they're naive, they're subject to predators. There's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing out there that may want to take advantage of them. If they're runaways, they generally don't have an identification with them. It's hard for them to get a job.
I
They're gonna have
can't
to
with
resort to
this.
other means to feed themselves.
I cannot with this. And this is, let me tell you guys something. This is the difference between, in my opinion, like if we, these are our kids, whether they're runaways or whatever it may be, right? And we hold a bigger responsibility to make sure that we're doing right. We're taxpayers, and these people need to do more for our kids. Yeah, I don't get it. Hey, Bunny, welcome. I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're doing well. But Bunny says, hey, Rabbit and friends, the problem is that as soon as a kid hits pre-teenage, they automatically consider the child a runaway. Right. I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely.
To put a roof over their head, and some people would like to take advantage of that. And next thing you know, they don't even realize that they're becoming victims of crime themselves.
Yeah, and then to your point, you're alluding to the fact that this is not part of a very well-coordinated criminal enterprise that kind of swept up all of these juveniles here. But do you have any leads? Do you have any evidence to put forth there that these missing children could be swept up into, like you said, some other criminal enterprises? Or do you have any tips that they might be found soon? Have you been in touch with some of their family members? What's going on here?
So we have gotten calls from some family members at Cleveland Missing, and not an unusually higher number than what we normally get, maybe just a few here and there. But again, there's no real tips that are coming in that indicate that there's some sort of criminal enterprise or something else out there. It's really hard to say what exactly is causing this uptick in this.
I also wanted to ask as well, since this initial report was put out, have any of them been found since?
There are several that have been found, which is a good thing. But of course, when there's also a couple that have been reported missing since the original report came out. And so as you see on your screen there, there's one of the things that should be brought to the public's attention, and that is where you see photo not available. Unfortunately, we see this all too often, and we need to make sure the parents have current photos of their children. And if you never need them, that's fine. But it's really hard to chase down somebody's name when you're looking at just the name, rather than if you can put a face with a name or something like that. And another key here that we want to bring out is that the public is our biggest asset. And so we really need people to, if they see something, to say something. If something doesn't look right, then they should say something. If they see a young child that just doesn't seem like they fit in as to where they're at the moment, or they're being pushed away, or they look like they're under the influence.
Okay, so the parents don't have updated info, pictures and whatnot. No, and I agree with nonsense on this one. Like, there's no reason, there's no excuse. Absolutely, for the lack of photos, doctors' offices take them of minors for their charts. Even now, even so, there isn't anything odd. No, absolutely, there is nothing odd with there being more photos. I'm just saying, like, between the registration to school, if they've been clearly there's been a fingerprint about these kids if they've been registered in school. Help me understand. And now I'm kind of questioning how many of these children are somehow connected or related or have some type of connection to Child Protective Services. Is this why there's no picture? Because even in Child Protective Services, there should be some picture of these children. So how are they collecting this information to say, all right, we're gonna post this up? I mean, this is a missing child. Okay, come on now. I don't get it. Middle school yearbooks get photos of kids of all the time too. I mean, come on now. There's photos of at least a few of them, if not more. No, I agree. I guess I should have said that back in the day, says Karma. I don't know what you mean, Karma. Tell me. Do we know if they're in the system or undocumented? Well, and that's a great question. Maybe that's an issue. But even my thought process is this: if they made it to a system, okay? Let's say that they made it to a system, anything, right? They made it to school. They would have had something to document this issue. Something, right? More like Child Protective Services. As soon as, how soon after the kid goes missing are they reported? And that's a great question. That's a great question. Let me hit play on this so we can keep watching, okay?
Of narcotics or alcohol or something like that, they really need to call law enforcement, have law enforcement check it out, because all it takes is that one tip to bring a kid home safe.
Yeah, to your point, there's a lot the community can do. Can you talk about your organization and the outreach that you do? You go out into the Cleveland area and the community, and you ask people for help, not only in trying to find some of these juveniles who've been reported missing, but just to help with the organization itself. What more can they do?
So we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we're founded by Gina DeJesus, who was one of the survivors of the Cleveland kidnappings, where she was held against her will for nearly 10 years, from the age of 14 to 23. And then her cousin, Sylvia Colon, who was the spokesperson for the family during her years of captivity. And so they formed this organization several years ago. And basically what we do is we go and we help families of missing, who have missing persons. We do not do investigations. That's up to law enforcement to do the investigations.
I don't know. And you're right, Lazarus. They have social media. I mean, most kids do nowadays. It's the thing to have at this point. Law enforcement dropped the ball on this tremendously. If y'all can find those 30 in Texas, then why can y'all find these kids? Y'all have resources for criminals and have the same energy for kids. Right. That's my point. Children are the future. Why aren't we taking better care of them? Absolutely. There's something wrong here. I'm just saying. And I agree with you, Aaron, but I also feel like it's a burden of the community as well, because some of these kids, I bet you, are probably systemically involved some way or another. Okay, mama. And it's very likely that maybe they don't have, hey, a home support or something, but what they do, there needs to be something in place, whether they're in the system for whatever reason, maybe they've been removed from their home or other issues. There has to be something in place for this, because this is ridiculous. Hey, Shrink and Sharon, schools take pictures in the winter and spring for picture day. Schools always keep a copy. Absolutely. And sometimes kids don't want to take a picture, but they have to for their kept, record keeping and whatnot. So I'm having a really, really, really hard time with this. This is crazy. Oh, here's my boo, Real Lady Justice, here listening from the bushes. Thank you, Real Lady Justice. Just like they failed Gina and Amanda Michelle. Oh my gosh. I know, Miss Kathy. It is crazy. Y'all have the marshals find that's what I'm saying. It's like the energy, but this is our kids. This is different. This should be affecting everyone. This should be hurting us, because I mean, I don't know if, like, let me tell you this. I'm having a hard time with this. You guys don't have pictures, but somebody reported these children missing. Who was it? Was it the Department of Child Services that reported these kids missing as runaways, or was it a parent? There should be a picture of these kids somewhere. Look, this is really literally, if you go to the website, check it out, okay? And type in the missing kids, and literally the first page of this. On page 1, you have 10 missing children, but only 2 of them have a picture. Let me go to page 2. Let's see what we have on page 2, okay? Let's see. All right, here's one that went missing on the 4th, okay? And then there's 2 more over here, no pictures. Here's 2 other ones that went missing on the 3rd and the 4th. Look at this. There's still a lot of gaps. And all of these kids are teenagers, the majority of them. They're not releasing DOBs. They're literally just like, what is Phoenix Sicilian, who's a 13-year-old? Look at this. Phoenix Sicilian is missing. I don't know what her sex is, right? I can't tell any identifiable information other than the fact that she went missing on the 3rd and she's 13. And she went missing from Marion, Ohio. What else? What other identifiable information do I have of this child? Thank you, Penelope, for the $9.99. Unfortunately, our city gets overlooked a lot and quite sad. I mean, let's be real. What child, if there's a child missing out there with a gazillion children in Cleveland, Ohio, what does Phoenix Sicilian look like? Why can't I don't have a picture of her? I don't know if she's 13. I don't know if she has any piercings. I don't know if she's black or white or Mexican. I don't know anything about, like, not even her race is said here. Can somebody tell me what these kids look like? But when somebody is a fugitive and they're wanted by the marshals or the FBI or whatever other agency, you better believe we got their face plastered up there because we're out for blood. But these are our kids. And we don't have one picture, even if they're systemically involved, whether they've been in the judicial system or they've been in CPS. You tell me that there's not one picture. Did they ever get a library card? Did they ever go to somebody reported these kids missing? What's going on? This right here is systemic failure. It's one thing to have a child missing. It's another thing to not know what this child looks like so we can find them, right? There's a problem here. This is just page 2. Let's go to page 3. I mean, I don't know what these kids look like other than the 3-4 pictures. Look at this. Look at this. Look at all these empty blocks and spaces. What does Jerry Broomfield look like? Who's Elizabeth Baker? Okay, who's all these? I don't know. Who's Miracle McLeod? Who's Pearl Lucano? Who are these kids and what do they look like? Should I just assume that they're, do I just ask them, hey, are you that 12? Are you 12? Do you look like that 12? Like, what is this? This is wrong. Get their ish together. Not one damn picture, you guys. There's something wrong here. Absolutely. I want, you know what nonsense? I want to shout out. There was literally at least 10 people, between a couple of creators to a couple of subs, a couple of people on Twitter who said, Rabbit, hey, you need to look at this. I said, well, somebody's already covering it. And then I started looking and said, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense, you guys. Seriously, something's not right. It's one thing to have these kids go missing. It's another thing to not even adequately put their information out there. I get that we might have some privacy situations here, but these kids are missing, right? That kind of goes out the door, to not even have one picture on record for these kids. And you can't just put this on the parents. The parents aren't taking pictures of them. Are you kidding me? Because they're reported missing. Somebody should have a record of these. Somebody should have a picture. If they got a library card, if they were registered in school. Guys, something's wrong here. We got a problem here. Why don't we have more pictures? This is a huge system failure for these kids. I'm confused. I'm confused. I don't know what these kids look like. So if I see do I just assume that it's them? What do I do? How do I report this? Who do I get who I report to, but what do I do? This is a disservice. It truly is. And I bet you, I don't know, are all these kids in the system? Can we get the system to figure this out? Maybe do a little drawing or something, or some more identifiable things about this child. Does this child have piercings? Are there tattoos? Is there a birthmark? Is there something else? What the hell is going on, Cleveland, Ohio? Yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Thank you. So there was a lot of people that messaged me, believe it or not, and I was like, I can't. It says print poster. What poster? Let me see. Hold up. Let's see. Let's look at Faith's poster. Well, wait a minute. Now we have more identifiable information on this poster. Give me 1 sec. Hold up, guys. Let's see what this poster. I mean, I still don't have a picture. I still not an excuse for no picture. But we have her missing since the 1st. Okay. So now we have more ethnicities. If you click the poster, you actually see she's a white female, 5'6", 126 pounds, blonde and blue eyes. Faith was last seen in Ohio. Okay, perfect. Still doesn't excuse the fact that we need pictures of these kids. Still, we need to figure this out. It's all over NCMEC. Has pages that with no pictures. So if you click, thank you so much, whoever said it, click on the print poster and it gives you more details. But I still like this is still not enough, you guys. Like, I need a picture of this kid. Why don't we have pictures of these kids? 7 days and no photos, says Penelope. Rabbit, do you think you can show a video of the hand signal for help me? Just in case there are people out here that get abducted or abused and need to ask for help silently. I don't know. I'm not familiar, Bunny. Can you tell me about the hand signal for help me? See, that's the first I've heard. Help me hand signal. Hold up. I will see. Is that something that we can share? Okay, I see. The Guardian posted this. 1 second. Let me see if I can play that now. I mean, I don't know who's watching this, and if you're one of these kids, guys, clearly, I really do hope that there's out here people that actually care, and that hopefully you guys make it home, wherever that location may be, and that you tell people that there's got to be a way. I don't know if they're all runaways. We don't know the circumstances in which they left their property and the home. Let me hit play on this.
If you are in need of help, or if you see this symbol, you need to get help immediately. Open hand, thumb across your palm, and close your 4 fingers into a fist.
Okay.
Your hand is up like this, then you tuck your thumb in and all 4 fingers over that thumb and back and forth. A motorist notified our 911 dispatch center that he had observed a young lady in a passenger car, that she appeared to be in distress, and that she was giving the TikTok signal to him that she was in distress and had a fear for her life. We positioned ourselves along the interstate at exit 41, about 9 miles from that location.
Wow.
And our detectives even said that they looked in and the female was still giving that signal, which we didn't even know what it meant. We do now. And we conducted a traffic stop by boxing the vehicle in. I got the 16-year-old missing person female out of the vehicle safely and arrested the driver, a 61-year-old male from the same town that this young lady was from.
It was nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to catch up.
Yeah. Oh, can you share that banana bread recipe?
Oh, sure. It's actually my mom's banana bread recipe, but it's pretty foolproof and it's super easy.
Well, I appreciate it. I know your mom is a great baker, so I should be good.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
The trick is to grease the pan really well and use overripe bananas. That's my mom's tip.
Okay, good to know. I can't wait to try it. So thanks again for the recipe.
That application on TikTok, that hand gesture was everything. Had that not been transmitted by the young lady, had there not been someone out there that knew how to interpret what she was doing, then who knows, we may not have had a good resolution on this. And maybe this will be a good thing, because this story has went national, and we think that motorists and law enforcement agencies nationwide should be aware of this and know what this signal means. And I think it can be quite useful in the future.
Definitely. I like that. I think that's a great idea to have this hand signal. This should absolutely, the Penelope, the fact that these kids don't have pictures up there should be enough, but also, like, we just need more more, like, I'm just having a hard time with this. You mean to tell me none of these kids have social media? I'm just having a hard time with this one, okay? I'm just saying, I feel like not enough effort is actually being put out there to search for these kids, whether this was a sudden surge of missing people or not. There should be um more awareness to this. And nonsense, you bring up such a good point here. Do we know if any of these kids have special needs, or if their approach, if they're verbal or nonverbal, or if their approach, will they run away, or like, we don't know that, right? And so that would be a good indicator, to even that would be great to kind of have out there, right? It's just we have to do better. I'm just saying, if you go on the website, and again, the person that told me, I think it was who was it that told me to press print poster, and they would give you some details about what's going on in their sex and other markings, and maybe their height. But this is still, to me, not enough information. I need a picture, because this is like a needle in a haystack at the same time. We need more identifiable information, right? And that's just kind of my 2 cents on that. I'm going to have to head out because I got to go tend to baby bunny, you guys. I appreciate you guys said, thank you, Lazarus. Lazarus, like, I said it. Thank you. Shout out to Lazarus, you guys. He's the one said print poster, and you actually get a little bit more details from it. But that, guys, it doesn't beat a photo. Okay, we need a photo. You mean to tell me these kids don't have social media? I'm just having a hard time with this. Okay, kids live on social media nowadays. There should be more. There should be more information, okay? Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. I'm going to have to head out because I got to tend to baby bunny. I appreciate every one of you guys. Make sure you share this live. It brings more awareness to what is going on over here in Cleveland, Ohio. I hope that they do a better job in protecting these kids, because clearly it's not working, right? Clearly we have a problem over there, all right? Rabbits out.